Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 8 of my visual effects series where I teach you all these new VFX skills that you might not know. I make some example effects and I show you how I do them. This one was a user comment and suggestion. They wanted to see how I did lightning bolts. This is how I normally do them. You can also do them with flip books. Maybe I'll get into a separate video on how to do flip book lightning, but I like doing it this way just as much. And it's a little faster and maybe a little more versatile. I mean, nothing's that much more versatile than hand drawing it, but a little quicker, I guess, unless you're a very fast artist. So let's jump into the project and see what's going on. Okay, first things first, we're going to go ahead and create a new folder. We'll call it Lightning FX. Go in there, right click, and let's create a new unlit shader graph. And we'll call it lightning bolt. Double click to open her up. Let's set it to unlit's fine. Set it to transparent. Alpha, front, that's all fine. Don't want it to cast shadows, and that's it. Okay, let's hit space and create, you guessed it, a rounded rectangle. Let's go ahead and get our distortion set up, just like usual. Noise, simple noise, UV. Plug it in just like that. We'll do a slider. Set our scale to 25 for now. Plug it into there. And let's get a float set up for both of these individually because we want it to be able to control the width and height separately. And let's set the width to something nice and small. We'll start with something like that, adjust as we go. We'll bring the height up all the way and then rein it in once we get the distortion because the distortion kind of makes it bigger. Okay, let's get a little distortion going on. Let's see if we can rein in the height a little bit so we're not totally clipping it off at the top. Bring the distortion back. Okay, and let's see what it looks like. I want to crank the distortion. I want to bring this noise scale like way down and see what kind of shapes we can get. It's a little far down. Let's get a tiling and offset node too to plug that in here. See if we can adjust the tiling to make it a little more interesting too. But you don't have to. You can have it very regular distortion looking. That looks pretty sweet. Crunch the tiling on the Y to make it kind of more, compacted. Looks like sound waves or something. I think I'm actually pretty happy just doing it one on both of the tilings there, but it's just nice to be able to control that if you do want a different look. But I think I'm pretty cool with this kind of shape for now. Sure. Yeah, I like that. And I like that it's not clipped off of both sides. It's a little bit of a basic looking bolt, but I don't hate that. Sure, let's try that for now. And let's go ahead, get this multiplied with a color node. We'll do color and vertex color so that we can change the color in our particle system as well. Multiply vertex color together with our base color. Plug that into the multiply with the texture. Plug that into base color. Let's plug the rounded rectangle directly into the alpha. Let's convert this to a property. And instead of controlling this and just leaving the width at all times how it is, I want to be able to control that with the particle system. So let's create a UV node, switch it to UV1, split, and we'll say alpha, sure. We'll remap it. Remember, alpha, or the UV stuff is all 0 to 1. And a nice thing we can do if we remap it, so we're just telling it to take this input value and change it to something else, so we have a different range. We can plug a vector 2 in here, and we can say, let's see, y is the maximum. Okay, so we're going to take this float that we made earlier to plug in here for the height, and we're going to say that's the maximum that this can be. The maximum size, and then the minimum will be 0. So plug this into here, we get exactly that. So now when this is calculating the particle system on a curve or whatever, we can, if we're just doing 0 to 1, because that's easiest in the particle system on the curve, we can tell it with this remap, now it knows that this is what 1 means, because it's taking in the max here. This is what 1 is on that curve in the particle system, and this is what it's turning into. So we can keep it nice and easy once we start messing around in the particle system. So we can go ahead and convert that and name it lightning width. And convert it to property here, distortion. I'm actually not going to convert the rest of these because I like how the bolt looks, but if you want to have those controls yourself and be able to mess with it in the editor and stuff, feel free. Hit save here, go back, let's create a particle system. I guess first we could create a plane. Nah, it's okay, we'll just do it with the particle system. Let's set the speed to 0 for now, lifetime to 1, duration to 1, emission to 1, so we're getting 1 particle per second. 1 particle in the same place per second if we bring down the radius. Let's make a new material, call it bolt, assign it to the particle system, go into our shader graphs, lightning bolt, and there we have it. There's our bolt. So now we can adjust the color here, or we can do it in the particle system. It doesn't matter. Doing it in the particle system is nice because you can reuse this same material on multiple effects and just change the color there if you want to have this same lightning bolt. But I'm just going to do it here for now because I won't be reusing this. Well, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll probably be making some extra effects for the intro and outro here to show you different colors and stuff. So let's go ahead and just bring up the intensity here. And then we can change the color within our particle system. So let's get that nice blue. Beautiful. Nice like white blue. That's pretty good. Wonder if we want more intensity. That's probably good. I like that. And let's go ahead and add some movement to our distortion. So we don't need a tiling and offset, we just need a time node. Multiply that with, can you remember, a vector 2. So we can decide which axis we want this to scroll up on, X or Y. Convert that to a property and let's name it distortion speed. Save the asset, back to the scene. So now we can set some distortion speed. I don't know which way this should go. I feel like it should be traveling in the opposite direction. It's going to be coming down, so probably negative is good. Sure. I don't know if we want this to be any more thin or not. That's probably fine. So let's start figuring out how we're actually going to do this. So we are going to scale it from the top pivot downwards. So we're going to want to move this pivot, go into the renderer. Right there. And then we're going to be scaling this on the Y. That kind of looks all right too if you just scaled the whole thing from that pivot. But I'm just going to separate it out and just do it on the Y. So we'll set the X and the Z to be flat curves. And it will come straight down just like that. Beautiful. Obviously it'll be a much shorter lifetime once we start messing with it. It'll be something more like that. Maybe like a 0.4. Let's set it to 1 now just so we constantly have one playing. So we can see what's going on. All right, let's have it shrink in on itself using our width control that we put in. So go down here, custom vertex streams, UV2, and then custom 1, X, Y, Z, W, go to custom data, turn that on, vector, and as you can see it disappears because like I said before, it defaults to 1 within the shader, but once you turn it on here, it's defaulted to 0, so it just like will disappear. But now we could do this curve here. We want it to go the other way, we want it to go 1 to 0. Ooh, look at that, that looks really neat. I like that. Okay. You could also dissolve it out if you wanted, but I thought it looked kind of cool if we did this like this kind of look where it thins itself out as it strikes down. It's going to be tough to find a good lifetime for it to show all of its... I like that. I think I want to get more speed though, since it's such a short lifetime. Let's try -3 on the distortion, just so it kind of changes up as it travels down. I think I want to increase this starting size by a little bit. Let's do 0.04, just so we got a bit more girth towards the beginning. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Okay, I like that. I think it's a good lifetime too, 0.25. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's add an impact effect to the bottom of where the impact will be hitting. So the bottom of this bolt, which we can just eyeball it here. If we hit pause and back it up, it's hitting around here. So if we create another particle system, let's name this one bolt, and this one impact. And let's grab this this same cylinder we made in the last episode, the cylinder with no caps here. And let's... Where is this? The scale of things is... Oh, there we go. Quite big compared to the rest. Let's bring the bolt up with it. Let's just scale this bolt. Did not realize that would be so small. Move it up. Okay, just so we can kind of get an idea of how this is going to look. Oh, we also don't want this to be camera facing. We want this to be local. Local should work, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's facing the wrong direction now. Let's go ahead and change that to not be negative 90. Can't see the bolt anywhere, so I don't know where it's... Oh, it's because it's not spitting one out until a second in. Okay, where are you, bolt? There you are. You're just not facing the right way. So let's go ahead and turn on start rotation, 3D start rotation, and rotate it on the Y by 180 degrees. And you know what? Let's go ahead and just make this double-sided in our shader too. Just so we don't have to worry about that. There we go. And you know, it could be camera facing as long as you're not going to see it from above, but just in case, we'll do it like that. And you could always do, in fact, I'll show you a kind of an old school trick to deal with that. Let's do 2 bolts. Same thing, except this one will not be rotated 180, it'll be rotated 90. So that when we start this, let's bring it back. I told you to pause. Oh, I didn't play the other one. Doy. Maybe I did. What's going on here? Oh. Because I scaled this one up. The bottom one's not set to scale with hierarchy. So yeah, this is a very old school way of dealing with it looking weird from multiple directions. But, you know, it is a possibility. You can do it this way just to like kind of cover some of your bases. So you have like 2 bolts kind of crisscrossed. But I don't know if I love it. Maybe it's fine. They're just so kind of randomly offset there because of how we're doing our shader. With the distortion, it's like they won't always be crisscrossed properly, so that's all right. I will get rid of that, and we will just do it from a forward-facing direction. It still looks fine from 90% of angles here. It's just if you hit it dead on, it's not going to look as good, but that is all right. Okay, anyway, back to our cylinder. We want to create a new material using that burst material we made before. We'll call it the ring. Don't even remember what we made. What we called that shader is called burst. Okay. Assign that to the cylinder. I'm just doing this so I can get a look at it. Let's change the distortion tiling a bit. And we can just have both of these be the same color. Bring up the intensity a bit. I want it to be pretty bright, but we still want it to maintain that blue. How's that going to look if it's both? You know what? Let's have a little bit darker on the inside just for funsies. Sure, there we go. I like that. Change this to transparent. Both faces. Alpha's fine. Depth right set to force enabled. Turn on alpha clipping, so it renders properly when it's like intersecting with itself. Let's decrease this. Oop, not the dissolve scale. Distortion scale. Let's decrease the distortion scale by just a bit. Change the tiling of the distortion so it's a little more spiky on the Y going upwards. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with how the material looks, so let's go ahead and create that other particle system. And let's go ahead and create our parent object. Lightning effect. That's what we'll name that. And parent it there. Let's go ahead and zero out the transforms. Double click or F to focus in on it. Okay. So now we've got this bolt and this particle system. Let's go ahead and change this from emitting 1 over every second to a burst, so it's instant. So as soon as we hit restart, that bolt's going to fire down. Yeah, what some people might do is scale it back down on the X as it comes down, but I think it's better to do that kind of shader thing we did where we're actually controlling the scale of the texture instead. I think it looks cleaner, it doesn't get squished. So if we did it the other way, it would get squished as it came down. Okay, so it is hitting about there, so let's change our other system here to a sphere, bring it down to 0. Let's name this impact. No speed. Lifetime 1. Duration 1. And we can go ahead and set this to be a burst of 1 as well. So now, let's move this down to about there. Let's change the renderer to be a mesh, because we want to use that same cylinder that we used before, the no caps, cylinder effects no caps. Slot in that material we just made for this impact. We do not want it to be view, we want it to be local for the render alignment. Let's bring our scale down. And let's get a ground plane here as well, just so we can have kind of a frame of reference for where the ground would be for this effect. Okay. So here's what we want to do. We want this to be a burst. Let's change this. Well, maybe the scale's fine. Let's try it anyway. Let's copy paste our values, turn on 3D start size, and then we can increase the size there. I think our colors could be a little more accurate here to the bolt. I don't know why they're... I think they just need a little bit more intensity. Sure, we get a little bit of a color tone there. Maybe this could go more blue. Sure, that's looking about right. I guess you would want to invert these. You would want the primary color. Or if you don't want, if you just want to do one tone here, that's fine too. In fact, let's just do that. Since our lightning bolt is only one tone, I think it's fine. Let's see what our dissolve would look like on this. Don't like that. I want the same tiling as my distortion and the same scale as my distortion too. So how's our dissolve gonna look? I want some speed on that. Let's change our... Oh, we don't have any speed. Oh yeah, we do. Okay, it's our distortion speed. Let's set that to -3 as well, just so it's got... I think that's what we set the bolt to. Yeah, -3. So it's got a similar kind of punchiness to it. And let's change the tiling on the Y to be more... Let's just copy paste it there. Yeah, that's a bit much. I want to have a little bit of like form to the dissolve. Oh, this should just be 3, not -3, so it's going upwards. There we go. Okay, so let's turn on... Remember, we set a Boolean to decide if we were going to dissolve this with the UVs or not. Turn that on. think we did that a few episodes ago. And let's access that within our UVs, UV2, custom 1 XYZ, turn on custom data, vector. And now we can see the dissolve happening. So we need to go from 1 to 0 on a curve. I like linear curves for dissolves for whatever reason. Great. Okay, so let's add a scale over lifetime as well, size over lifetime. Linear might be fine here. Let's do the ease out curve. Decrease the lifetime to 0.2. It's a little short. Let's do 0.3. Sure, kind of like that. Probably going to want to increase the size a bit on the sides. Let's do 0.45. Okay, and we're also going to want to set a delay for this. So we can see here the playback time of when this bolt is hitting. Why is it doing that? Good Lord, I think I need to change the maximum. Let's go down here. So if you don't change the maximum particle size and you get your camera really close, if it is set to 0.5 by default, when you get close, that means this particle, including the parts we can't see, the alpha, so this particle is pretty big right now. Once it's above half the size of your viewport, then it'll start to like shrink itself and kind of move itself backwards. So it's hard to get close with your camera, but if you set this to like 2, then it can be 2 times the size of your screen. So you can actually get close to it and see what's actually going on. So the impact point happens about right there, 0.25. So let's delay the impact by 0.25. Let's see how that looks when we play it together. Yeah, my scale's way off now because I didn't realize that can happen a little sooner. I didn't realize I didn't set that maximum particle size thing. Let's do 0.15. Sure, that seems to be firing at about the right time now, and let's definitely increase the scale of this now. I didn't realize that I did that. Let's go 1, 1, and like 2 on the Y. Liking how long this, or how quickly this wraps up. I'm going to do 0.5 on the impact lifetime. I still want some more speed. Let's go lower on the lifetime of the bolt. I want this to be really snappy. Because, it's lightning. It's supposed to be quick. What happens if we go 0.1 on the lifetime? Hardly see anything. 0.12. .14. That's the problem getting into these short lifetimes. You don't really see all the little detail of it dissolving outwards and stuff. What's that curve look like? I did one of these curves for this. Let's do a linear. I think that'll help it survive long enough. Yeah, I don't like that it's dying a bit too quickly here. Now it's too long, obviously. Oops. Okay, let's do 0.15 and just fix up our impact delay. So let's do the impact delay at 0.1. See how that looks. I think we got a bit too much scale now. Let's bring this down a bit to 0.7 and like 1.5 on the Y. We might have a bit too much size. I think we could rein it in a bit more. Let's see. We need a flash too. That's our impact's not selling enough. So let's make another particle system. In fact, we can just duplicate this impact, call it flash. Change the renderer on this back to a billboard. Local facing is fine there. Let's use our regular particle shader we made in like the first episode. Set it to alpha. Front facing's fine. We'll do both just because, just in case we flip it the wrong way. Where is this particle at? Replace that material. Okay, there it is. Why is that scaled funny? Oh, that's why. There we go. Make sure you turn off the 3D start size. And we want this to be an up-down curve. I have my up-down curve saved. You can do the same. You see I'm kind of eyeballing that particle right there. Okay, so let's change the local rotation of this to 90 degrees. Let's move it upwards a little bit so we can see it. Where'd it go? Oh, did we not turn on front facing? Or both faces? We did turn on both faces. It's because it's gray and I can't see it against this gray plane. All right, let's go ahead and change the color. We'll just copy paste the color from the ring material. It's raining here. I don't know if you can hear that. Very exciting. Let's bring it up. Okay, there it is. Let's just bring it to about the ground plane level. Yeah, that's about right. Let's set the maximum size here to be about the width of this base, just like we did for the other bursts. Just helps sell that impact a little bit more when you have like a bright flash. Bring the lifetime down to 0.2 for that. I think we could bring up the brightness a little bit on that flash just to really... Also, that size is a little off there. I want it to be... Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Oh my god, it's like storming outside. Hope I don't lose power and lose all this footage. So let's bring up the brightness of this flash. Well, I don't know. It's kind of... I think it's bright enough as is. Let's check in the game port view. I have a little bit of a darker color background. Turn off the plane. So what? No, I'm pretty happy with this. Trying to make sure that that timing is right there. These are just the little adjustments and tweaks towards the end. Don't know. I feel like our scale might be a little big. I think I want to rein in the size of the bolt on the X a little bit. Yeah, let's do half the size on the X of the bolt. There, now it's not so chaotic. And I think now that we've reined that in, we can bring up the maximum that maximum lightning width. I think this impact probably needs to be bigger. Let's set that to 1. Bring up the flash to match it. I think I don't like that the lightning bolt's totally gone when the impact comes down. I think I want some extra lifetime on that lightning bolt. It's fine that the impact starts coming out a little sooner than the bolt actually contacts where that is. You can lead the impact a little bit. Just to help it feel punchy. Let's increase the size of this impact thing to like 2. Maybe that's a bit too big. So that's about... Yeah, that's definitely too big. Let's bring that back in. Never mind. Had an idea. Didn't work out. Such is the life of a VFX artist. Alright. So that's looking pretty alright. Yeah, you know what? I like that. If you want to slow it down at all, you can. I like this speed I have going on here. Okay. Yeah. Alright, I'm happy with that. Side note here, I just realized I adjusted my playback speed by accident here to 1.6. Let's set that to 1, and then we can just set the simulation on everything to 1. Where's that? Here it is, 1.6. That way it maintains that same effect, but actually in-game. I made a couple of extra bolts here for the thumbnail and whatnot, so intro, outro. But yeah, I don't know when I did that, but you can just set the simulation speed so it'll do the same thing during actual gameplay as having the playback speed set higher on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. Be sure to check out the Patreon. It's in the description of every video. Every time I finish a video, I will upload this whole project into that Patreon. It's only 1 tier. It's $5 a month, and you get access to the project files and all that. You feel free to export them as packages into your own projects, use them, do whatever you want with them. I don't care, as long as you're not reselling them. That would be weird. Don't do that. Don't be a weirdo. Show this to your mom. Show this to your dad. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.